Hello, I'm Henrik from Milestone. I work in the MIP SDK team. I'm going to talk about AI Bridge today. The topics we're going to go through is an introduction to AI Bridge, talk about the architecture and data flow, then about NVIDIA market, how AI Bridge is in X-Protect. Then we're going to look into the IVA code of an IVA, which is an intelligent video application. And then we're going to talk about plans for AI Bridge. So AI Bridge is a bridge between X-Protect and analytic applications. Analytics mainly running in Kubernetes in order to use the resources most optimal. And what X-Protect has right now is not really corresponding to what's being used in Kubernetes. So AI Bridge is exposing codecs and data interfaces used in Kubernetes. We have done this with NVIDIA as a cooperation partner, but any Docker hosting solution can be used to run AI Bridge. AI Bridge is currently in a pre-release state, but we're working on getting it into a public availability. So the data flow and the architecture of this is that we have VMS, the X-Protect VMS, and we have the devices in the VMS, which is communicating with AI Bridge by AI Bridge being have an implementation so it can get data from the VMS. The AI Bridge is then the white area here, where we have streaming, we have query, and we have a broker. The broker is used to send data back to the X-Protect. Streaming, here we support 3 protocols, the RTSP protocol, WebRTC, and gRPC. So no matter what codec the camera is sending in, the AI Bridge will be able to take the stream and transfer it to the codec which the intelligent video analytics application will be needing. The application will use GraphQL down here with the query in order to configure itself and inform the X-Protect that it exists. Once everything is running, the IVA application will be sending in events. This can be done through REST, gRPC, or Kafka. And these events will then be added into the VMS just as any other events from any other location in the VMS. In X-Protect, EVA is registered, and then it can be seen under these processing servers. And then you have a list of EVAs in here. When you have an EVA like this, you can find a camera and click on it, and then you will have the processing server out here. You find the name of this EVA, and then you can see the topics which are available on this EVA. So the topics is the kind of events that can be sent in, and in order to ensure that the X-Protect doesn't get flooded with events, you have to go in here and manually click the events you want to receive. I'm going to get back to how these topics are created from the IVA once we get to the code, which is now. We are going to look into the code and a bit about the documentation. So as mentioned, the AI Bridge is located in NVIDIA Marketplace. And when you get access to it, this can be done by contacting Milestone. You'll get the email address in the end of this presentation. The first part you have is if you go to collections, we have a full description of how the AI Bridge works with a lot of the same information as I'm giving you now, but also a bit more details about how GraphQL works and how to communicate with AI Bridge. You can see each of the containers down here. Generally, you don't have to go in to look and work with each of these, but it's available here. Once you go to resources, there is an explanation of how to deploy AI Bridge using a Docker Compose. This means that any developer can follow these steps and set it up. It requires an Ubuntu environment, so you run these commands, and this will set up Docker. Then I explained how you log into NGC, because in order to get the containers, you have to log in, and you're going to use an OAuth token, which you can retrieve from the NGC. And then you have an explanation of how you configure AI Bridge. Basically, the important thing is that you set up the server where the AI Bridge should communicate with a username and password. And then you should set up the IP address of your local machine in order for you to contact the AI Bridge. And then you simply run these commands in order to boot up Docker, and by doing that you're going to boot up the AI Bridge. Let's quickly go into documentation because we're going to use it soon. AI Bridge supports this URL, localhost AI Bridge, which gives you access to this documentation. I don't have AI Bridge running on this system, but if I had, I would be able to use GraphQL and Voyager in order to see how the scheme is actually working on this machine. I would be able to execute commands and read what data is in GraphQL and play around with it. Down here you have the classes explained. So if we take as an example, we'll use this really soon, a camera. We can see what a camera contains. Then the thing we're going to use is the video stream. And then we're going to take stream availability. This one shows what's required in order to connect to each type of stream. This is RTSP. Here we have WebRTC with documentation how to communicate with it. And finally RTSP, which is gRPC, which has a DS, direct streaming down here. Also with a bit of description how to use it. When we go into the sample in a bit, then we will see how this is used. This sample is a prototype being used internally. The first thing that's going to be released is samples in Golang, and later on new improved samples will be released in the .NET as well. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to register the EVA. This is done like this. So we can contact the GraphQL, and then we give the URL of the VMS, the user and the password. And then we set up the topics as I talked about before. So we want to use this metadata topic name and event topic name that's going to be used later. And we create these topics when we register the EVA, which means when the VMS then, once this is done, the VMS will be able to go into management client and configure which events they want to receive, and they have to click accept on these two in order to get them. Here we have metadata format and we have event format. By going to the documentation, we can go down here and we can find metadata format, and we can see what we support. Right now we use the OnWith analytics, so we have description of how that works. We have OnWith analytic frame, and we have a deep stream minimal, all with explanation how to use and how they work. And then we have the event topic up here, event format, where we have explanation of the analytic events, how that one works as well. At the moment, we only support this kind of event. Going here, we run a post graph to post the topics. Once the topics has been created, we go to reading the stream. To get this, we again use the GraphQL, and here you see we use the cameras, and we ask for camera that has this device ID, and then we go in and ask for the DS of this camera. This ends up giving us the information we need in order to set up a channel, a gRPC channel, and we can create a client which can receive data. So we now, based on what we receive from the GraphQL, we're able to go down here and use get video stream. I'm not going to get into too many details of what we're getting here, but the code we have is simply cheating. We're not doing any analytics. We are just checking how many frames has been there, and then we send metadata and events depending on the number of frames. When we go to send metadata, we're going to see we have hard-coded metadata here, which follows the unwith format. The interesting part is when we go into send metadata, to figure out where to send it, we again use GraphQL, and then we use the topic name, which we registered. We ask to get the topic availability. We ask to get REST, which is the URL, where because we created the topic, we now have an endpoint where we can post in our messages. So we have this topic URL, which is being used to make a simple post where we post into the the endpoint we just received. When we do send event, it's basically the same thing, except the event is now following this analytics type of data. And when we get to the bottom here, then we have send event, which in this case takes the event topic name instead of metadata topic name, and request it, gets the REST endpoint, and we then just post to that. So that's how we send in information into the AI bridge, and the VMS will then get the information from the AI bridge once it has accepted those topics. I have documentation links here. This is the same thing that I showed you earlier, but we'll provide you the links. If you need access or want access to the pre-release, please contact us at developer@milestonesys.com. Explain what you need, and we'll help you to get set up. So a summary. The first step is to get access to AI Bridge in NVIDIA, and then read the documentation and follow the step-by-step guide. Then you connect to a local VMS, you register the EVA through GraphQL, retrieve the stream, analyze the video, and then you send metadata and events. And finally, you configure the topics in the management client, and then the analytics will be set up and working correctly. Thank you for listening in.